Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Build the Ultimate Theme Park in Planet Coaster. My name is Tyler Cedarwall, and last episode we built this new roller coaster that you guys see right in front of your very eyes. And I ended up naming it the Wormhole because it's like a worm that goes through a bunch of holes, and it's in the space theme section, so it made sense. Now the first thing I want to do real fast this episode is I took the Gamma Ray out of its natural environment. I was just curious to see if the coaster would look good if it wasn't in the rock formation that we built, and it doesn't look too bad. It looks a little bit weird. It's really tall because there's a few parts of the coaster that go really low because they went into the trenches and into the holes in that mountain, and those parts are pushing the rest of the coaster up since there's not trenches for it to be in right now. I just thought it'd be a fun little thing to do real fast, just see what this coaster looked like, and I mean it looks pretty cool, but it definitely looks way better in the mountain. Anyways, let's go ahead and head back over to the castle section of the park that we started a couple episodes ago. We started building this wall with a monorail that goes along the top of it, and today we are going to start building the second ride in this castle theme section, which is going to be a car themed ride. It's going to be a really slow, boring ride for the kiddos, and it's probably a good thing that we're finally building a kid ride because pretty much in this whole entire park we don't have any rides meant for kids whatsoever. We do have some bumper cars in our sci-fi complex on the other side of the park, but I wouldn't even completely count that since it's just a stationary ride. We will have like a kid coaster in the future too, but we needed like one slow ride, and slow rides are also good for like elderly people or people who get sick easily, so it's good to have some variety in your rides because there's boring ass people out there who need some boring ass rides, and fortunately we are here to supply it for them. Now, as far as the theming goes for this section, I want to make it look sort of like a medieval village, so have lots of houses, maybe a tavern, a windmill, a sort of market area, kind of try to give it a lot of life. And it'll take a lot of time to build all of those separate buildings, but I think it'll definitely be worth it. Now, one thing I'm going to use to my advantage in this section is I want to use the Steam Workshop. There is lots of blueprints that you can find there from things that other people have created, and I'm going to find some medieval village houses that have already been created just to get us started off, and we'll do that later on in this episode. I want to do this for a couple of reasons. One, I'm going to have to build a lot of houses anyways, and that's going to take a lot of time, so I thought it'd be best to save a little bit of time by finding 4 or 5 houses already pre-made just to get us started off. It'll just save us a lot of time from having to build every single house from scratch. And the second reason is just because I want to show off the Steam Workshop. There is thousands and thousands of things that people have made that you can download. You can download full rides with tons of scenery already added to them in the Steam Workshop, which is really cool. For example, the Ride the Manhattan Project. I could put that whole entire ride for you guys to download on your own computer and put in your own parks if I wanted to, which is actually a pretty good idea. I could put that ride in there. Now, the downside about the Steam Workshop is you cannot copy terrain, so rides like the Gamma Ray would be impossible to copy over into the Steam Workshop. But anything that doesn't involve terrain, you can put it to the Steam Workshop for people to download. You can also put full parks in the Steam Workshop, which is really cool. And then you can just put buildings or just things of scenery that you have created. So I just wanted to show that off a little bit and to show that it is a thing. Now, we're creating 99% of the things in this park on our own because we just wanted to create an original park. But just this one time, I just wanted to use the Steam Workshop just to show the capabilities of it and to show that it is an option for people who don't want to create everything in their park 100% from scratch, because not everybody likes to spend hours creating buildings and stuff. Sometimes you just want to throw stuff in and just create a really dope park really quickly. Now, as you saw, I spent a lot of time fleshing out that wall and making it look really smooth and sleek, and it turned out really nice in my opinion. All the sections blend together pretty seamlessly. It was a lot easier to do than I expected. I was pretty happy with the outcome. No complaints as far as that goes. And now I am putting in the gate that takes the car ride outside of the wall. Now on that outside section, I'm going to put kind of a haunted forest, and we'll put some like witches out there and just some creepy stuff just to kind of make the ride maybe a little bit scarier, because it's not too scary if it's just going through a nice happy village. It kind of adds a dynamic to it that wouldn't originally be there without it. It makes this kid ride a little bit more spooky, which is probably a good thing because right now it is not spooky in the slightest. Or if we want to be a bit more funny, we can say the ride is spoopy. I don't know why that's fun to say. It's spoopy. I think it's because you're saying the word poop, poopy, but you're adding an S to it. Spoopy. It's so dumb. Alright, that's enough of that. Now right there I added a path that's going to lead to a little small marketplace section that I'm going to build. And then I just continued the path out a little bit further so we would kind of see where it is. I made the exit wrap around the car ride a little bit because I want to make a fountain in the center of that section and kind of have it be a small little plaza area. And then for the queue on this car ride, it's going to be going through a building the whole entire time. And I'll probably make it themed like a blacksmith or a bakery or something like that. I'll have to kind of go through the medieval scenery because I'm not entirely sure what options I have right now. I haven't done too much with medieval scenery yet in this game, so I'm not as aware of it, but we will figure it out eventually. Now we are on the Steam Workshop, and I was looking at other buildings people have created. I found this nice medieval tavern. All you have to do to download it is click subscribe to the object, and it adds it straight into your game. You don't even have to like close or reopen your game. It just puts it straight in there. So if you're playing your game and you want to download a ride or a piece of scenery, all you got to do is open up the Steam Workshop, click subscribe, and you are good. You got that new piece of scenery. I think it's kind of weird they use a subscribe button to download this scenery, like it's YouTube or something. It doesn't make too much sense. I feel like you should press download or something along those lines, but that's how you download scenery. Another reason I'm using some of the pre-built houses is because I'm not very acquainted with the medieval scenery, and so I wanted to use a few houses as like a guideline for how I'm going to be building the types of village housing in this area. I do want to ask, does it bother you that I'm using some pre-built houses for this park and not making them from scratch? If it does, I will delete them and build my own houses. I don't have a problem with that. It'll take a bit more time. I mean, there's pros and cons to both sides. If we do use the pre-built houses, the area won't completely be ours, but we will finish it a lot more quickly because we will have to build a lot of things in this area to fill up all of this space to make it seem like a true medieval village. Right here, I'm raising the car ride up a little bit higher just so I can put some of my own custom textures and flooring pieces underneath the ride. I'll have to go back and fix the gate for the wall in a little bit, but I wanted to raise it up so I could have a little bit more freedom. Mostly so I could put concrete or cobblestone flooring underneath the cars. And now I just placed the first blueprint house. All you have to do to place these is click on the My Blueprints in the bottom left-hand side of the toolbar, and it'll just give you a list of all the different blueprints that you have. And I think this house looks really nice, and this is the type of style that I'm going to build the other houses in. Having like really intricate kind of cottagey looking houses with vines growing on them, lots of boards, and just making them look nice and pretty. I want it to be a nice kind of fairy tale looking village. Something that you would maybe see in Beauty and the Beast in the opening scene where they're singing that opening song, the da 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 da. I don't know any of the words to that song, so I'm just gonna make da 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 sounds. Now, one thing about the flooring of this house that I like is that I made the cobblestone kind of intersect with the path itself, so it's almost like they're walking on a completely different flooring, and then the guests will still walk on top of that flooring, and you can see kind of the outline of the path, so that's where they're gonna be walking. And then we can put just like tons of scenery and like pots and that type of stuff around the path to kind of outline the path and make it seem more like an organic house instead of having it be just a straight up path that they walk on. I think it looks really neat. I'm not sure if you can hear it. There's some thunder outside. It's supposed to be a big storm tonight. We have tornado warnings for the next 4 hours, and it's kind of bad because in a couple hours I have a dance recital that I'm supposed to go to, and it's in a high school auditorium. I'm not sure if that's the safest place to be during a tornado warning, but I guess we're gonna find out. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be filmed as well, the dance recital, so whenever that video goes up, I will give you guys a link if you guys are interested in seeing that. And if you guys didn't know that I dance, well, that is a thing I do. But yeah, rain is starting to hit my window. I've also heard we're supposed to get baseball-sized hail tonight, so that's kind of terrifying. Rest in peace my car if that happens. My dad, he's a construction contractor actually, and One thing that he actually does hope for a lot of the time is for hail, because one thing that he makes a lot of money doing is contracting out jobs where they reshingle roofs. So whenever there's a hailstorm, it ruins a lot of shingles on roofs, and my dad gets a lot of work from that. So that's like the positive side of my life when it comes to hailstorms. Well, I guess not my life necessarily, because I'm not the one who gets the money, and he doesn't ever give me money. But he does take me out to get dinner and stuff sometimes, so I guess that might mean more food for me. And I'm pretty sure the meaning of life is to eat all the food you can. So he's pretty much giving my life fulfillment when it comes to that. And what I'm building now is a miniature wall that I'm gonna put around this small marketplace. This circular section, I'm gonna put some like fruit stands and stuff along those lines, and I'm putting this wall around it because during the nighttime, per se, they want to have a way where they can lock up the gate to prevent people from coming in and stealing people's goods and merchandise during the nighttime. And then we're gonna have the car ride go along the top of the wall, just because we like to incorporate the rides into the scenery and just kind of make it all tie together. But I think the wall would be a cool little addition just to fill in the space. And I'm pretty sure that's a thing they do around a lot of markets, or maybe at least more expensive markets where they really want to protect the goods and don't want to have to pack up everything every single night. I guess people could always scale the walls, but that's one of the reasons why they're tall. And then there could be some security guards on the top or something. I don't know, I'm trying to think of what they would have inside medieval villages like this, and this just seems like something that you would find. I guess it could be useful to do some research on medieval villages and just find out what some prominent types of buildings they would have in those types of areas. I'm not sure if anybody else used to play this game, but I used to play this game when I was, I'd say like a freshman and sophomore in high school, called Tribal Wars. And in that game, you would start off by building your first village, and you would build like separate sections, and there would be like a church, a headquarters, some barracks, a church, and you would build them all up, and you would level them up to get them to produce different things faster, like different resources. And then you would go attack other villages and take them over, and those other villages were real people for the most part, and you would take their resources and stuff to build yourself up and create your own kingdom. I'm pretty sure that game still exists. I don't play it anymore, but I used to love it to death. I remember kind of wanting to do a Let's Play on the game whenever I was younger, kind of when I very first started Let's Playing, but at the same time it would have been a terrible game to do a Let's Play of, because it's one of those games that's a lot of time-based elements. Like, you would upgrade things with your resources, but it would take like either 30 minutes to an hour to even up to like 24 hours to upgrade different elements. And the resources were all time-based, like you would get 100 resources every hour, and there was clay, wood, and iron, I believe. So that type of game would have made for a terrible Let's Play, unless you just did tons of editing. But overall, that just would have been a bad experience. But pretty much what I'm getting at talking about that game is I could go back and look at all of the village elements they had in that game and get some inspiration for the buildings I could build in this section of the park. Now, I'm pretty sure that these 5 buildings are the only ones that I could find that I wanted to download. So we're gonna still have to build quite a few of our own custom buildings to fill in the rest of the space. And that's what we're gonna be doing pretty much for the rest of this episode, is building a new building, because these things take a while to construct. There is a lot of different elements, because you have the walls, the roof, then all the little details on plants and everything. It's not a quick process. Also, I saw that robot trying to come into our medieval area. I need to set some constraints on where he can go, because I feel like it doesn't make too much sense to have a robot hovering around inside the medieval section. And one other thing I'm going to do next episode is I'm going to bring some guests back into the park to fill in some of the path space and to have some actual people riding on the rides. But I'm going to limit it to 200 guests so it doesn't slow down my computer too much. And having 200 guests will still fill up a lot of the space. You'll still see people walking to different sections of the park and riding on the rides and waiting in line. So it's kind of all we need. I wish we could have like 10,000 people in this park, but I just don't think it's going to work too well. Now, the hardest thing about designing buildings with medieval scenery is that there's a lot more scenery pieces that you can incorporate into your designs. There's more wall pieces, there's more roof pieces, a lot more doors and windows and little things that you can add as details. And it's a lot harder to fit them together to make them look nice. With the sci-fi scenery, it almost felt like I could kind of combine anything together and have it look pretty good. But with a medieval scenery, you have to be a lot more precise, and just there has to be a lot more of a concise theme and feel to your buildings for it to make complete sense. I am really happy that it gives you that much more freedom though, because that was one of the biggest problems with creating the sci-fi section of the park, is that kind of felt limiting, only having a few different wall pieces and pretty much only having one solid roof option. I mean, I still did some really cool stuff with it, but I would like to see some more sci-fi scenery in the future. And I'm almost positive they're going to add DLC to the game, because, oh, I don't think I even mentioned it, but there is a DLC button on the menu bar now. I don't know where it is exactly, but I remember playing the game and it actually had a button where you could sort things by DLC. So it's pretty much confirmed that they're adding DLC to the game, which excites me to no end. All I want is some more scenery options, some more ride options, and it would be great to get some water park scenery thrown in here. Now, there is a YouTuber named Silverette who does lots of Planet Coaster stuff, and he's actually created some really awesome looking water slides using cylinders and other shapes that you can build within this game. He created some amazing, beautiful looking water slides that look really realistic, and it's really cool that he was able to create some nice looking water slides, but the only problem with it is the guests can't actually ride on them. So I'm still waiting for a water park expansion, because that would be just awesome, just completely amazing. I just saw this thing on Facebook that they're opening up this new really cool looking water park. I forget where it's at, but it has this huge volcano in the center that has tons of water slides going in and out of it. That'd be really cool to create in this game, a giant water slide volcano thing. Yes, please. Now, one thing to keep in mind while constructing these types of buildings is the more intricate you are, the better it'll probably look. So I really like using the wood pieces and the wood decorations to really give the walls a lot more depth, instead of having them just be flat walls. Just giving them these little tiny details with these wooden boards really makes all of the difference. I'm really happy with the way this first house is turning out though. It was nice to have the other houses to look at for reference too. Mine probably doesn't look as good as the other ones quite yet, but once I build a few more, they'll look really good. Another nice thing is we'll be able to use each house we create in building probably at least twice, and just kind of angle them and put them in different places far enough away to where you can't tell that the same model has been reused. Mostly because we don't want to build like 50 different houses. If we can get away with building 25 different houses, that would be much better, as they said in the Amanda Show back in the day. Man, I miss Amanda Bynes. Why did she have to go crazy? All of those celebrities go crazy. Drugs, fame, and pressure can really screw up your mental state. And now we are pretty much done with this house. It is looking pretty snazzy if you ask me. Alright, I'm going to place it the first time over on this side of the car ride. Then I'm going to copy it and put it over here by the entrance as well. And that's okay, because nobody will probably notice that the building is copied, especially from a lower angle. And the fact that you can see one from the ride and one from a completely different section of this park, I think we are going to be a-okay. And with that, I think we are done building things for this episode. It feels like we didn't get a whole lot done this episode, but we still got a lot of things kind of laid out. So when we come back to this section, we'll try to get a lot more completed. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this episode of Planet Coaster. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and I will see you guys in the next episode.